Yes, this is Anthony F. here, Mobile Tech Heat. Tonight, I was fighting it, wasn't going to do it, but you know what? Why not? This is a topic that needs to be spoken about. So, today, about 6 hours ago, it was announced that Cyanogenmod Incorporated has now been funded $22 million. Yes. So let's start from the beginning. Cyanogenmod, project created by Steve Kondiak from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's an experienced software engineer. He got a hold of Android because it was open source, and he said, "Oh, I love this thing. I wonder if I could. How about if I could? Man, this really should." And that's how it started. He tweaked it. Came in contact with other like-minded people on the internet, Kush, other guys. And they continued to do something that they liked, that they loved, and they got good at it. People started following them because their version of Android was full of bloatware. I guess really CyanogenMod was created because it was a necessity. And usually that's how good things start. See a need, fill a need. That's a phrase from the movie called Robots, cartoon. See a need. So, when Android first came out, Google sent it to the carriers, and the carriers did what they always do with their devices. They throw their versions of apps on there. They throw advertised apps that people paid them to put on there, certain companies, software companies. And they put a ton of trial apps on there. That's how it went. So with CyanogenMod, what they did was, I'm not sure who did before them, but Android was rooted. As in, you had super user, Sue, powers, you had 100% administrative permissions on the device, and you can take off what the carriers had baked in, or so they thought. So that's where it started. Rooting the phones and taking out the bloatware that you really don't need, and slows your device down. When you buy low-end Androids, unfortunately, they start off with no memory. Why? Because they were paid by other companies, software companies, to put their apps on there. And once those apps were on there, it filled up the memory for anything that you wanted to use. So Steve got tired of that. He tore all that out, threw in just the essentials. Eventually he came across lots of software engineers, fellow software engineers that were good with Android apps, good with Java, and they started making their own versions of apps. And it worked out well. Now, there's other companies that do that too. I won't even say companies, other groups. Paranoid Android does it also, folks. But CyanogenMod were the first ones to actually get a lot of momentum going, and they were funded. So Steve moved to Seattle, Washington, where all the other smart guys were already. Got an office, got a dog, and they went to work. And the question is, work on what? Android is already the base. They constantly push to make sure that new versions of their versions of Android is available for all the devices. That's pretty automatic, though. Sure, some of them are tweaking the code a little bit to add new things, take new things out, but they have a couple of servers already that's doing that. So that's great. They got money now, pay for some good servers, pay for a good website. Now nightlies are happening. They're kicking it into a new speed. Now they get $22 million. What's that for? More servers? They're already cranking out the nightlies pretty well. They already jumped to Android 4.4.2 pretty quickly. What's the $22 million for? Well, folks, a company that I really like, that I buy from Amazon quite often, is called Blue. They're based out of Miami, and previously they were just making a lot of cell phones for Central America, South America. They were pretty low key. But with Android coming out, with Android 4.0 really being open source, they've exploded. with Android devices for cheap prices. For under $200, you can get a modestly well-made phone. Funny enough, I just looked at a box before I started this, and it says, designed in Miami, made in China. That sounds familiar. Wasn't that Apple's logo for a while? Apple's mantra? Designed in Cupertino, California, but made in China. So Apple's been a great roadmap for us. We know that people can forget that everything was made particularly in the same factory in China, and they smack their name on it with their own design. Blue has done that. Cyanogenmod can do that. I'm not saying they're doing it, but they can do that. They can get a good factory company over in China that makes Android devices pretty well. They can tell them how they want it to be made, the design, the logo, throw Cyanogenmod on there, bada boom, bada bing. You have your own hardware Android company. So now we're going to have Blue, we're going to have Oppo, we're going to have some other no-names, and then we're going to have Cyanogenmod Incorporated, making Android devices. I like the sound of it. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Will it happen? I don't know. Can it happen? Yes, it can with 22 million. What else can they do with it? You tell me. I'm going to throw this up here on YouTube, and in the comments, let me know on YouTube and Google+, what can a new Android software company do with 22 million? This is Anthony F. Mobile Tech Heat. See ya.